Fans were quick to point out what seems to be a very recognizable zombie in the new 28 Years Later trailer. Who is it? Let's just say he looks pretty good for being basically dead for 28 years. Forget about Aaron Taylor Johnson's longbow skills or the rad monument made of skulls. It's that quick shot of a skinny zombie that everyone's talking about. As the dead-looking guy slowly stands up in an open field, we, and everyone else on the internet, can't help but think he looks a whole lot like Cillian Murphy's Jim, the iconic protagonist of 28 Days Later.
No!
Before you say anything, yes, we know the 28 Days Later zombies aren't your typical undead zombies. Rather, they're just people infected with the rage virus. Still though, this character certainly looks like one. And seriously, the jawline, the forlorn look in his eyes, the exact same emaciated look he achieved for Oppenheimer, it has to be Jim, right? It's definitely possible. Though Jim lived through the events of the first film, he didn't make an appearance in 28 Weeks Later, which pretty much means anything could have happened to him by the start of this latest entry, including a grisly death. There's also the possibility that zombie Jim isn't actually real. It could instead be some sort of dream sequence where Jim is imagining what his future might look like if he fails to survive another brush with the rage virus. At this point, all we know for sure is that Cillian is officially reprising his role as Jim, and he isn't the main protagonist. The leading man duties seem to be falling on Aaron Taylor Johnson this time around. And the plot synopsis for the movie doesn't offer much insight besides the obvious. The rage virus is still going and a group of survivors have their hands full once again. The important thing to note, no matter what you believe at this point, is that trailers have lied to us before, many times in many different ways. Remember that whole Avengers Infinity War misdirect back in 2018? In case you forgot, Hulk, in all his big green glory, could very clearly be seen charging into battle with the rest of the gang in Wakanda in the official trailer, only for Bruce Banner to clumsily rely on the Hulkbuster armor for the climactic fight in the actual film.
There's too many of them!
It wasn't the most devastating lie ever told in the history of the MCU, but it definitely bummed a lot of people out. Or what about 2014's Godzilla? The world was beyond stoked to see Bryan Cranston make an appearance in what looked to be a rad movie after wrapping up his legendary role as Walter White in Breaking Bad. Only for his character to die. The movie still turned out alright regardless, but it was a huge letdown for Cranston fans who had hoped to see him lend his renowned acting prowess to the script. Beyond that, countless other trailers have lied to us in bigger ways so big that we were flabbergasted by how different the actual movies ended up being once we actually sat down to watch them in theaters. Take 2016's Passengers, for example. The trailer made it look like Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence's characters simply wake up a bit too early during their 120-year-long journey and have to find a way to save the future of humanity together. However, it turns out that Pratt's character is the only one who actually wakes up too early, and he chooses to wake Lawrence's character up after creeping on her and deciding that she would make for good company.
How could you do it?
Needless to say, it made pretty much everyone feel gross and root for the impending asteroid collision. The future of humanity be damned. For now, it's hard to say where 28 Years Later will fall in this spectrum of expectation versus reality. All we know for sure is that we're definitely here for Danny Boyle's latest entry, and we hope that it ends up being all the rage when it drops in theaters.